Pictured here is the Honorable Bruce E. Schroeder, and he is, of course, the judge that is hearing the Kyle Rittenhouse case. The defense in that case has offered a reasonably convincing argument that Kyle should not be charged with minor in possession. We've talked about that on his channel many times. And I just did a video on this yesterday. The defense has put forth their motion to have the charges dropped because they claim that Kyle Rittenhouse was in legal possession of that rifle. And Judge Bruce Schroeder listened to their argument and decided, at least for the time being, that he was going to deny the motion. What does this mean? I've been thinking about this. I have a feeling that Judge Schroeder is a pretty clever guy. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
So why is Judge Bruce Schroeder doing this? Why didn't he just simply say, gee, Kyle, your argument here sounds pretty convincing. Charges dropped. Pound the gavel, be done with it. Why did he say, I need more time to think about this? Well, what is Judge Bruce Schroeder's argument? It's that the law is convoluted. Okay, the rule of lenity says that essentially if you have a convoluted law, that it should be interpreted to the benefit of the defense. And so Judge Schroeder is looking at this law and he's gotten real confused over it. And I think that he's leaning towards dropping the minor possession charges. Now, why doesn't he do it already? Well, he knows that Binger is going to appeal this. The first thing Binger will do is he'll appeal it. And what better way to reinforce your argument that the law is convoluted than having to take more time to try to figure it out? This law is really a mess. Man, I've been studying this. I can't make a decision right now. I've got to take more time with my extensive judicial career behind me. It's going to take me a few days to figure this thing out. So when Binger goes to appeal, the appellate court will ask themselves, well, how convoluted is it? And Judge Schroeder is going to be able to say, it was so convoluted, I couldn't even come up with a decision at that time. I need more time to think about it. In other words, Judge Schroeder is reinforcing his argument that the law is convoluted by claiming that he needs more time to review it. At least that's what I'm thinking might be the case here. Now, he's had more time. Why not just go ahead and make the decision? I have a feeling that he's going to make the decision in the 11th hour. And you may be wondering, well, why would he do that? Is that a little bit unfair to the prosecution? Yeah, I think that's why he's going to do it. Now, this is where it gets a little bit on the conspiracy level. But I have a feeling that Judge Bruce Schroeder has it in for Binger, and he has good reason for it. If you go back to the Guy Smith case that I did yesterday, where Guy Smith is a truck driver who got in trouble with the concealed carry thing and Binger prosecuted him, Binger had to ultimately drop charges against Guy Smith, but he didn't tell Guy Smith until the very last moment, right when the trial was beginning and the attorneys fly up to Wisconsin to defend their client. That's when Binger told them. He could have told them earlier. And here's the problem, though. A judge wants to know as early as possible because the judge wants to clear his docket. He has a whole lot of cases going on, and the earlier you tell the judge that you're dropping charges, the sooner that he can arrange his docket to get a lot of the work off of his plate. And unfortunately, Binger waited till the very last moment. That had to piss off Judge Bruce Schroeder. And everything that Binger has done since then has not elevated his reputation in the eyes of the judge. Bruce Schroeder thinks, I believe, that Thomas Claire Binger is a bumbling fool, and a very mean one at that. And therefore, I have a feeling that Judge Bruce Schroeder has no real reason to want to tell Thomas Claire Binger anything until the very last moment. It's a little vindictive, but hey, Judge Schroeder is a human being, and if I was in Judge Schroeder's position, I'd do the same thing. Screw Binger. Here's another interesting point. Judge Schroeder has stated the rule of lenity, and he didn't call it that, but he stated it. He said explicitly that the law seems to be unclear, it seems to be vague. And he also stated that when the law is vague, it has to be interpreted in favor of the defense. My question is, how do you go back on that? How does Bruce Schroeder at this point rule in favor of the prosecution when he has already made the claim that the law is vague, that in such an instance the law favors the defense, and has admitted he needs more time to review the law because it's so vague? So how do you go back from that? Do you go back to court and just say, well, I figured it all out. Oh, it's really clear now. I can understand how now a 17-year-old kid should have known that he wasn't allowed to have a gun at night. Is he going to say that? I have a feeling that the whole notion of Bruce Schroeder having to take more time to try to figure the law out has backed him into a corner. I think he has to rule in favor of the defense at this point. Now, what do you do if the judge comes back and says, I'm going to deny the motion for good? I think at that point, the defense could get very firm with the judge. Polite but firm. Your Honor, we respect the court. We respect the court's decision. However, we need you to reconsider this. You have already admitted publicly on the record that the law is convoluted. You admitted that you had a hard time understanding the law yourself, and you even had to have more time to go back and try to sort it out. The rule of lenity here is clear. We think that your own statements demonstrate that the charges should be dropped, and we would like you to reconsider. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do I have it right? Like my video, subscribe to my channel.